Alrighty then, let's gear up for our next speaker who has flown all the way from Germany to meet us all. He's the CEO and founder of Bitscrunch, an organization that centralizes around blockchain. Well, his name is Mr. Vijay Pravin Maharajan. So the stage is all yours to share your raw story with us.
Vanakkam. Good afternoon to one and all present here. I really hope that you had a wonderful lunch and are willing to listen to a few more raw stories. So myself, Vijay, even though I came all the way from Germany, I'm originally from a village called Achampatti near Thirunelveli in India. I mean, when I see Mr. Madambatti Rangaraj, who carries Madambatti along with his name, that feels so nice, right? Now we get a tag like all the way from Germany. But where we came from really matters, right? So glad to be here talking in front of an amazing audience, talking at the Half Brick. So what I like about the Half Brick is it brings out the worst. When I mean the worst, it brings out the hardships, the struggles, the unheard and untold stories. And apologies, Mr. Bala, glad he's not here. You are definitely bringing the best from all the speakers here. Right? So, I am a 33-year-old now, but let me roll years back to my hardships, my struggles, and several unheard stories. Right? With these social media, with TikToks, which is what Mr. Veer, the little speaker, talked about today, and Instagram and YouTube shorts, we glorify, we see how happy people are, how beautiful they are, how successful people are, right? But this is one such platform which brings out so many unheard stories, right? When I was 19, I had to drop off from my first year of engineering. Right? It was not a pleasant experience. Coming all the way from Thirunelveli, which is down south, probably 600 kilometers from Chennai. I wanted to study in Chennai, but fate had other options. So I was not, I had to step out of the engineering college, had to redo my first year of engineering. That's when I ended up in Gungunodu. One of the other speakers was also from there. And came out with flying colors. Let me get back to that later on. And at 22, 23, I lost a valuable relationship. A couple of speakers spoke about how relationships can actually bring a lot of joys and how the same relationships could bring a lot of sorrows, right? Only those who are close to us can give that joyness as well as sorrow. So I lost my love. Back then I was in a relationship. And at 23, back then I was just finishing up my master's degree in Germany. And I still remember the day where it was freezing cold. It was minus 12, minus 14, 15 degrees. And I went to a McDonald's. The reason being, I was applying for jobs after jobs, like Dr. Anita, who earlier spoke, right? I couldn't land on a job. The reason being, I was a fresh graduate, finishing up my bachelor's, straight away to my master's degree. And Germans, Europeans, they love experience. Right? I recollect a meme that says, there is an opportunity for a fresher with 10 years of experience. Right? That has been the job market these days. So I was really afraid whether I'll be able to land on a job. So I went to a McDonald's that is just close by my university. And the person who was working at that counter was a Tamilian. So luckily, she was from Sri Lanka, so speaks Tamil, same as me. I went there and asked, Akka, vela edachi kedaikuma? In a way, do I get any jobs? Right? Because we have always heard stories that people go to abroad, work at McD's and KFC's to fund their living. while studying, right? So I went there, I stood by that counter, not for the food, but for my job. But what happened next, I'll bring you again back towards the story at the later half of my narration. And I landed in a job as a electrical engineer at one of the leading telecoms in Europe, in Germany. So I was there, and I landed as a data scientist back then, back in 2012, 2013, a decade ago. That's when data was less known. Like now everybody talks about AI. Now everybody has literally tried the chat GPTs of the world. But back then I was thrown a challenge. And again, I recollect one of the speakers telling about how to come out of the comfort zone and look for challenges, look to excel in those challenges. Got that opportunity as a data science intern, again by coincidence. Some people might call it luck, but in my opinion, I would say if you put in 99% of hard work, that 1% of luck kicks in. Luck favors the brave, right? So I got that opportunity as a data science intern. I never had any education towards data science. Back then in YouTube, if you stream a video, you can actually go back, take a sip of coffee, come back, and then see the video getting loaded. Right? That such was the case back in 2G days. Now we have 3G, LTE, and 5Gs. Right? Hopefully, the next generation might pop up soon. And such was the situation where I had no clue about what data is. I could see what could come in the future because data was everywhere. People were uploading videos onto YouTube. A lot of websites evolve. A lot of new companies started evolving. So I wanted to latch on to that opportunity, started building my career, and I got my next opportunity with one of the leading automobiles in Germany. But then what happened next was again a setback. I lost my job when I was engaged. I was about to get married in November, and I lost my job in June, July. And back then, my fiancée, who is now my wife, was very supportive. So I was holding on to that thread. I got my next opportunity at Siemens. So all these years, I wanted to step out of that comfort zone. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to give back to the society. So having gone hardships after hardships, struggles after struggles, I wanted to tell who I am or give back what I could give to the community, to the people. And that's when I started thinking about entrepreneurship, and COVID struck. Right? Another setback. So I went to my boss at Siemens. I said, I'm quitting the job. Vijay, are you serious? Right? Just a week ago, Siemens CEO Joe Kaeser went online and said, Siemens will not fire anybody during COVID. Such is the legacy as Siemens. Siemens has built a legacy in Germany. Not just in Germany, they are a very well-known company in the world. Just a week later, I'm just telling my boss, sorry, I'm just quitting my job. And he was asking, what have you gone nuts? What are you planning to do? I said, I'm going to venture into blockchain. He said, Vijay, blockchain is not even a thing. Come on. And I said, no, this is probably my right time. Back then, I was 29, about to reach 30. So I said, yes, why not? Coincidentally, my wife was pregnant. We were pregnant that time, right? And she was again being supportive. Let me again roll back to that story at the later half. So, one after the other, there were a lot of struggles. I mean, my life was not about bullets and war zones, like Soha was telling, like her story in Lebanon. That was so inspiring, right? Coming all the way from such a situation, such a dire situation, to where she is now, and so many other speakers, Mr. Saifuddin sir, and so many others, had a lot more hardships than what I have seen now. And I started Bitscrunch, the company that I own today. I still remember the very first funding call that I attended. I still used to joke people that Biro தூக்குற மாதிரி போயிட்டோம். We went like 6 people onto that first funding call. And later I realized that it should be at least one or two guys who should step in there, right? But back then I was not aware because I come from a very humble background. I didn't have any entrepreneurial background at all. And my ask was $350,000. My first ask was 350K. Why 350K? All I had was Google. Back then there was no ChatGPT, sadly. So I put 350K into INR. It gave me 1 crore. Back then for me 1 crore was the biggest money. Right? Because we all love Amitabh Bachchan, crore-patis. Right? So 350K was my first ask. The investor literally laughed and he obviously denied. And then the next opportunity arrived. And people were questioning me about runway. Trust me, back then I was not aware of runway. The runway that I know was MAA, Madras International Airport runway, where the flight lands. Right? And they were asking about burn rate. Vijay, what was your burn rate? I was like, we have a very good burn rate, sir. That was my answer at that point in time. Right? So from there, now I am 23. I feel I'm a much sensible person, smarter person, sensible entrepreneur. From getting dropped out of my bachelor's to do my master's degree in one of the best universities in Germany. So I studied at Technical University of Munich, which is still currently ranked #1 in Germany. And even after I was dropped out, I came out with flying colors at Congo Engineering College. I was handed over the Best Outgoing Student Award. And where from standing at a McDonald's for a job, now I'm at a place where we are providing opportunities to 48 people, where we started as a team of 4, now has grown to 48. And my wife, biggest supporter, Ratina Mangai. So she stood by me when I lost my job just before our wedding. Right? And ours is a typical arranged marriage, so-called arranged, not the loved ones that you see on Instagrams. So she had no need. She doesn't have to be in a position to accept me as who I am because I lost my job just before the marriage. She had all the rights to call it quits. She never did that. And when she was pregnant, I was venturing into startup. I quit Siemens, which was handsomely paying me in 6-digit euros. And that's when she said, okay, you jump into the entrepreneurial jungle. Let me get the baby out and pretend like I'm raising the baby in India at my parents' place. You do all the wonders. If at all you fail, you can downsize. You can go back to a 1-bedroom apartment in Munich, in Germany, and I'll just pretend like I'm raising the baby. Right? Those sort of little things can make wonders, right? Sometimes these small things make wonders, and from an ask of 350K for the seed round, I have grown to have raised more than 100 crores right now. We have raised $12.5 million. I still remember the first meeting I had with Ms. Akila ma'am back in 3 years back, where we have raised just the seed round, the same seed round that I was saying. And now glad to be on the same stage, right in front of her, proudly saying that I've raised a very good capital. Right? So, as Bala said, brick by brick, it is happening. So you evolve as a good person, you evolve as a sensible entrepreneur, and whatever, but always keep your heads down and focus on building. Fundamentals will be the key, and that will take you to any possible heights. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.